the Plunderer, the Captain. This is Hydroid, the pirate Warframe. Hydroid focuses on lowering enemy armor and crowd control. He's very good against enemies like Grenier, but because his abilities focus on lowering armor, he can be a little less effective on things like Corpus. Still effective, but slightly less so. Hydroid's passive makes enemies damaged by him more vulnerable to corrosive status effects, meaning they're more likely to take them. Initial statuses of corrosion reduce armor an additional 25% for Hydroid, allowing him to fully remove armor from enemies with corrosive damage, whereas others can only limit it. Again, this is very useful against things like Grenier, especially with his kit. However, it's pretty much useless against things like Corpus for the most part, as most of them don't even have armor until later level enemies show up. Tempest Barrage calls down a heavy corrosive rain to strike an area, dealing corrosive damage and applying corrosive statuses. Multiple instances of the ability can be active at a time. Additionally, enemies within the area, when struck by Tempest Barrage, are staggered, unable to act for a moment. I really like this ability. It makes it very easy to strip all the armor from enemies in an area, as it's constantly dealing damage over its duration. Tidal Surge turns Hydroid into a wave of water, dealing corrosive damage and carrying enemies along its path, ragdolling them. This ability can be cast multiple times in quick succession to keep it going as long as you still have energy remaining. If you wish to cancel the ability, simply jump and Hydroid will return to normal. Enemies still caught within Tidal Surge's area of effect, once the ability ends, will be ragdolled and unable to react until they stand up again. Plunderer steals armor from nearby enemies, increasing Hydroid's own armor. Additionally, Hydroid deals increased corrosive damage with his abilities and weapons for the duration of Plunder. The amount of enemies stolen from affects both effects of Plunder. This ability slowly decays over time, but can be recast at any time to reset its duration. This ability is very good for enhancing Hydroid's gunplay, as no matter what enemy you're facing, having any kind of increased damage is going to be useful. Summoning an eldritch creature from the deep. Tentacle Swarm unleashes the beast's tentacles upon unfortunate foes. Enemies struck by the swarm take corrosive damage and status effects and are lifted into the air. There is a cap on the amount of targets that can be held, and any other enemies that enter will not be affected. Enemies hit by the swarm are lifted into the air and take corrosive status effects and damage, making them very easy targets for Hydroid and his enemies. Once a held enemy dies, another enemy can be grabbed by the tentacles. One thing I recommend is Tentacle Swarm can make it a lot easier to hit enemies with Tempest Barrage, stripping their armor while dealing damage constantly in that area. At rank 30, Hydroid has 370 HP, 465 shields, 240 armor, and 190 energy. He has a Nerimon Aura slot, as well as 1 Nerimon and 1 Matter Eye Polarity. Hydroid Prime has an additional 185 shields, 50 armor, and 35 energy. along with an additional Neramon and Vazarin polarity. Hydroid's main blueprint can be purchased from the market, with his parts being farmable from the Vahek boss fight on Earth after completion of the Arkwing quest and Mastery Rank 5. Now let's see him in action one last time. Hoist the colors high, Tenno.